If the world is a stage and Bible prophecy is just the script, then who really is writing the lines we live by? That was the question that caught my attention when Ryan shared his post, challenging religion, calling out colonized beliefs, and reminding us that connection to the Creator is found in nature and not dogma. I'm Joanne McFacts, and I had to reach out because, as someone who's also broken free from religious programming and questioned the system shaping human consciousness, I knew that this was a conversation worth having. So today, two truthers from very different paths come together, not to argue or preach, but to explore what it really means to wake up from the matrix, to peel back the layers of illusion, and to rediscover the divine connection within. Welcome to a real, raw, and unscripted dialogue between Ryan and Joanne, where no topic is off limits and the truth takes center stage. So welcome, Ryan.
Thank you, Joanne. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
I'm so glad that we were able to have this conversation today, because I'm always looking for people who have journeyed out of religious ideologies, political ideologies, anything in the matrix, whether it's programming in school, programming at work, and all those things. And I must admit, I have been following you for a little while, and you're one of my favorite shit posters. So I love that,
I
shit
appreciate
posters
that. Thank
tonight.
you.
Let's
Yeah.
chat, right?
All right.
Right. And I've been watching you for a little while, and I've seen a progression from where you were at. Let's say, I think I've been following you for at least a good 8 months or so, if not longer. And where you used to preach about Jesus, and you used to be a little bit more on the religious ideological side.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
That post really meant, like, I'll just read it out loud for people because that one struck me. And that was on October 4th. And you said, if the world is a stage, which in fact it is, by that logic, Bible prophecy is nothing more than the script they're running. Come at me all you want in the comments, but the colonizers and their phony religions have brought you further away from our Creator. I'm closer to our Creator in the middle of the woods, hanging one of his trees, that I'm reading a book, and that's the stone cold truth.
Yeah.
And that really struck me. And I would love to have an idea, like, share with me about a little bit about your journey, where you've been and what brought you here.
Well, I mean, I'd have to say that the mushrooms had an effect on that for sure. That was how I got deprogrammed completely from religion. It gave me a clear picture of how things are. It showed me that religion is another construct of man about control and instilling fear instead of believing in yourself and knowing within yourself that you are a divine being, and you essentially hold all of the power to create your reality.
I would love to add to what you're saying, because for the longest time, like, I was a Christian since I was 20 years old. So I really came in, like, I was bullied, and I had a lot of narcissistic people in my life when I was younger. So when I became a born again Christian and I had an experience with God, the narcissism in Christianity just felt right.
Right. Yeah.
It's, you're never right. You're always a sinner. You're always wrong. And you're always having to ask for forgiveness. And you're never achieving peace, because peace is never achieved here. It's achieved on the other side. And so is life. You're told all the time that you're a sojourner here, and you're coming through, and to expect that this is not your home. And one thing that, as I journeyed, so that was a few years ago, decades ago now. I recalled, as I was journeying out of that, and it took decades. It took like at least 16 years of me kind of picking up and realizing, oh, something's not working here, not working. But one thing that really struck to me was when Jesus had said, the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Right.
And everything in this matrix, everything is set up for you to take your power and go on the outside of yourself.
Exactly.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
religion,
you know, they essentially it's like they tell you that you're a piece of shit, you know,
yep.
and you're nothing but a piece of shit without having, you know, this book and this religion in your life. Like you're nothing, you don't matter, you know. It's like it's total bullshit.
Yep. But it's done with such grace because it has the illusion of love,
Right?
But it gives you a backhand.
Total. It's narcissism.
Exactly. It's like love bombing. Oh, you're loved, you're loved, you're loved, you're loved, you're loved. But if you don't claim that you're a sinner, you're going straight to hell.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I actually posted a video earlier about how all religions are narcissistic in nature, and everyone should check it out. Yeah, it's really good.
I should probably link that in the bottom of the comments of this video later. I think it'd be interesting for people to see. But yeah, it's that's why when I saw your post, I'm like, okay, we need to have a conversation because it takes a lot of time. Like I know you had shared that the mushroom trip was pretty much probably the catalyst that catapulted you on the other side, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But you were probably slowly moving towards an understanding as you were moving forward in your walk to see something just doesn't connect here.
Yeah,
right?
and like the post says, like I feel more of a connection out in the woods hugging a tree than I do reading a book or sitting in a building, you know, associating with a bunch of phony motherfuckers. Like, nah, like I feel totally connected out in the woods. Like he's all around us at all times within everything, you know?
So explain your experience for us. So what did you do and what happened? Essentially, like, were you looking for this? Like, is that what your whole goal was when you started saying, I'm going to do mushrooms because I want an experience with God? Or like, was it one of those, I'm bored and I'm going to just like...
Well, I've been microdosing mushrooms for a long time, you know, a gram, a gram, a few days a week. It was essentially to start out and helping my mental health, like, you know, because depression and anxiety are real, especially when you're trapped in this matrix. And so I set out on that journey, and you know, I slowly increased the dosage, and I started experiencing more and more things, and then one day I just said fuck it all, and I had 7 grams of mushrooms in my pocket, and I walked out into the woods barefoot and ate 7 grams of mushrooms and just had a fucking wild time. You know, I saw trees breathing, you know, I saw the earth breathing, and I kept hearing this voice of like, it's all bullshit. It is all bullshit. And it stuck with me, and it really, really changed me. Like that, like you said, that was the catalyst. That was like the end all be all of deprogramming from the colonization. And I'm different. I'm much different than I was. That's for sure. And it just, I think everybody should experience mushrooms. It does something to you. It helps the neurotransmitters in your brain fire faster and connect with each other. You know, so.
Well, so you said something quite interesting that I want to bring back to. You said the colonizer society.
Mm-hmm.
For people who may not understand what that means.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, it's the conquerors of lands. You know, in 1492, they came here and completely destroyed a whole population of people who had it right. They had it right. You know, they conquered them and brought them civilization. Nah, their bullshit ways were ass backwards. You know.
Right. And part of that is the religion, right?
Yes.
And also the colonizers. What I want to emphasize is the toxic patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the colonization. That's part of the conquer divide. That's part of the ego.
Yeah,
you know.
Absolutely.
And I want to emphasize the word toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with patriarchy and there's nothing wrong with matriarchy. But when they are in disbalance and when they are like right now, this whole world is completely patriarchal, completely.
Right.
And you can see that based on the religions that remove the mother, that remove the feminine.
Yep.
And by then also creates a, you know, a working environment where it's created by men, right? And then, well, for those that may not be aware, how our system actually got set up was by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. Right.
Yeah.
So if anybody is curious about understanding those things, please dive into that because I feel that that's really important.
It's
right now, we're just
a good start. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we're just touching the surface right now. And people are now in a position where they're accusing females and males. They're at odds with each other.
Yes.
And if you're at odds with the opposite sex, you're part of their plan.
Yes, absolutely.
You have been brainwashed to take part and bring about their great reset, to bring about their NWO.
Yes. Yes.
So it doesn't matter how much truth you understand. If you don't understand that, if you're a male, you're looking at a female saying it's all their fault and the feminism and all that, then you're part of the problem. And if a woman on the opposite spectrum is saying it's all the man's fault, then you're also part of the problem.
Correct.
So, but we need to see and understand that this whole world is run on toxic patriarchy, where it's all about the men, it's all about domination, and it's all about divide and conquer and things like that, right? So that creates toxic males, and then that creates toxic females.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and we need harmony. We need unification between both sexes because we both bring strengths and qualities that the other does not have, and it's the counterbalance that brings us together.
Absolutely. And with that, religion plays a significant part.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Women should be submissive and submit to their husbands. It should be quiet and have no opinion.
Yes. Right.
You know, and all religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all of them. Every single one of them has a set plan and goal to divide us. So we can't unify. So we can't revolt, you know?
Exactly. And it's all about everybody's brainwashed to say it's in the book, it's outside of yourself. Here's the book, here's the script. That's why it's called scriptures.
Yep. Exactly.
You know? But one of the things that I want to kind of maybe talk about too is I know that there's a lot of truther people out there that are talking about the flat earth, they're talking about the firmament, and they're talking about how the Bible prophecy is coming to pass. And they're saying that you could just see it. What's your take on that?
Lots of manipulation. Lots and lots of manipulation.
So how so? So somebody's watching us right now, they're confused. They're like, what are these two people talking about? What would you say?
Do you have a particular point that you want me to dive into, or just like as a whole?
Let's go as a whole, because everything is interconnected and their whole entire goal is the same.
Okay, well, they always control the narrative. They work both sides to play against each other.
Right.
You know, so creating events that seem like it's biblical. No, bro, like they're absolutely orchestrating events to take place to manipulate you into thinking that these Bible prophecies are coming to pass. Right. It's all a big fucking movie. That's all it is. And they're manipulating behind the scenes. Right. And people are just watching it as it is, like, this is amazing. This is a movie, like Bible prophecy coming to pass. Nah, bro, like you are being manipulated full on. Yeah.
Well, there's this one guy that he's a flat earther and he talks about the firmament a lot. He actually has, I think his name is Tyler. And he has some good stuff that he has to share. But where I believe that he goes wrong is where he starts to talk about how, they said that the Bible is used to control us. It doesn't control us.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Are bits of it true? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They always sprinkle in truth with the huge lies.
That's right. It has to, because in order for you to be able to be deceived, you have to see that there's enough truth in it, but just a little bit of a lie you can't discern. Because like I did a video a while back on my channel that talked about how they installed Jesus everywhere in our society, North America, let's say, right? So let's say when you wake up, like when I became a born again Christian, okay, like I was blind, I didn't know anything about God, and then when I had a heart chakra open up, it's like all of a sudden I was able to see differently, and I started seeing Jesus everywhere. Because why? They've installed him. And even like our year 2025, it's based off of who?
Jesus.
Based off of Jesus.
Yep.
Right? So, and our calendar system, the things we celebrate in North America are of biblical background.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how when you start to, because I was all about that way back when I was a Christian. I'm like, look, mom, look, dad, like, because like I was the only born again Christian in the family, and I wanted people to see what I saw. And they didn't, which is fine, but they also were brainwashed in other areas of life.
Correct. Yeah.
But yeah. So, you know, we're all brainwashed in some capacity. And for people to think that, oh, I'm not brainwashed. Oh, I can discern the truth. I have the Holy Spirit. You are literally believing a book can't come by out of Rome.
Yeah.
The same people that you think that you detached from, right? Because like the Pentecostals or any of the Protestant church, we detached from the Catholic Church because they believe demonic things and all that kind of stuff. You're a sister church. You believe the same thing. You go to church on Sunday, and whether you go to church on Sunday now, you do like the whole like Sabbath thing,
right?
Like it doesn't really matter. You're still holding the book that they still have.
Yeah, exactly. It all comes from the same place. It's just different variations and manipulations that still have them bringing you back to the same place of being deceived.
Exactly. So tell me about like your walk. Tell me about you before you started waking up. What was your life like? Who were you?
I was so growing up, I was always a very curious child, very inquisitive, you know, very young. I didn't, the whole like moon landing thing, it just didn't sit right with me. Like, you know, I was asking questions and I'm thinking, you know, I'm probably like 6, 7 years old. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like something doesn't add up here. So I was like asking my mom about it, and, you know, she was trying to give me the best answers possible, but I always asked why. I always wanted to know why. As long as I could remember, why is it like this? Why? I did. One thing that really stuck out to me was the whole phone call thing. I'm like, how is he talking to them up on the moon? And then another one that stuck out was that damn lunar lander. I was like, this stupid tent thing landed on the moon and then flew back, but why is the shuttle different when they plunge into the ocean? You know what I mean? Like, why is it different? Why does it look different? So it really started there. I was like very young. And then, you know, I kind of let it go, but there's always been like things that like stuck with me as I got older. I'm like, oh wow, okay, so I knew back then, but I didn't know. Like I was just curious about it. But the real big eye opener for me was 9/11. 9/11. I remember watching it on TV, and it just like it didn't sit right with me. I was like, something's off. Like, how is a plane, you know, gonna fly into a building and then, you know, make it collapse and blah blah blah. And so that really started the journey for me of just of being a truther, you know, just getting down to the bare bones of it, and like, you know.
And how old were you when you started? How old were you at that time?
I was a junior in high school. So that was, and then after that, it was like, you know, I went into like aliens and blah blah blah, and like, you know, I just kind of bounced around, but I always knew something was off. Like ever since I was a child, I was like, something is off about this place. Like something is off. It just does not feel right. When I was 5 years old, in kindergarten, I had my first panic attack.
5 years old.
5 years old. 5 years old in kindergarten. I remember sitting at my desk and then waking up on the floor with my teacher standing over me. I was like, what happened? Like I hadn't like, really no recollection of like sitting at my desk and then like waking up on the floor. Like I didn't realize what happened. They sent me home, and I don't know. It just something's always been off to me. I've never fit in anywhere. I've always felt like an outcast. I could be in a room full of people that claim that they love me, and I'm still like, yeah, but I still feel alone. I still feel alone. So I've always been a misfit. I've always been the odd man out. And I cared about like, why am I not fitting in? Why am I not, why can't I get along with other children? Why can't I associate? And then I reached a point where I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't. I really don't. I don't care about fitting in. I'm gonna speak loudly about the things that I know about, and the things that I don't know about, I'm gonna learn about, and then I'm gonna speak loudly about them.
Right. I think that most of us that have awakened have always had something happen to us.
Yeah.
In our past and in our lives and stuff. And but in your journey, when you were having your panic attacks, you're going to church. Like, are you like, what type of Christian were you?
Okay, so I went to this home church. It was ran by a born again Christian and his wife, who was a Reformed Jehovah's Witness. Okay. And it was like a home church. It's out of Bolton, Vermont. And I would go there for Bible studies during the week, and then we'd have Bible study on Sunday, and they were nice people. They're don't get me wrong, they were nice people, but
they always are.
Yeah, and it always felt off. Like something was wrong. I was like, this feels wrong, and I don't know why. I could never wrap my head around it. And so I studied with them for several years until I started talking about like flat Earth, and they're like, well, you shouldn't be questioning God's word. I'm like, well, doesn't it say in God's word that it is flat, and et cetera, and they kind of shunned me. We parted ways, and and that was when I started questioning about flat Earth. That was right when my great grandmother had passed away, who was like near and dear to my heart. Like that woman was the one that brought me balance. She slowed things down for me. She just kind of just your presence alone just brought me this peace where it slowed my mind down, and I felt comfortable in my own skin. She showed me things about gardening and electroculture and canning and cooking. Like she was really like instilling old type ways, which is something that I didn't know I needed then, but I'm forever thankful that she showed me what she showed me.
Right.
So like I said, backtrack. When I was questioning flat Earth, she had passed in 2002, actually, October 31st, 2002. That's when I kind of went crazy. Like, and that's when I got really, really angry and pissed off. Like, this woman that meant so much to me. How could God take her? How could God take her? So I didn't care about myself enough. I was suicidal, so I went on a really, really bad. Go. I'm on the phone, man. And I went into a really, really bad drug fueled you know, just
bender.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
6 years. It was a long bender.
Yeah. You know, it was like, I started out small, you know. I mean, I've always like dabbled with cannabis and stuff like that ever since I was like 14. I never saw it as like a problem.
Right.
You know, I always saw like mainstream medicine as a problem, like highly addictive opiates. And so I started out small, you know. I was drinking and smoking and stuff like that. And at 16 years old, I snorted my first my first Vicodin.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit, yeah, okay, because it turned down the volume. It turned down the volume of life, and it made me feel better, and it turned everything down. And hi, buddy. That's my nephew. Hi, buddy. I'm on the phone. Okay, I'll talk to you after. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like I think every single one of us, well, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but between you and I, okay, both of us, okay, when we come to having something tragic happen or having an awakening process, it really hits the cognitive dissonance. It really kind of goes like, this was life before and now this is life after, and I don't know how to compute this.
Yeah. It was like a spiritual crash out.
Yep.
And I didn't know how to handle it. I really didn't. Didn't.
Yeah. Who does though? And honestly, who really does? Because you know, you're living life and you have a way with your grandma, your grandma, or great grandma. Great grandma. So everything is going, and then you're living life, and then she goes away, and then all of a sudden, right.
Yeah. And whole world just rocked completely upside down. Yeah. You know, because she was the cornerstone of my existence. Like she was everything to me. You know, growing up, my mom was emotionally distant, and then my father was a alcoholic and a drug addict. So she was focused on him, chasing him, making sure he was okay. And then here I am, you know, just a little boy. Yeah. Just lost emotionally, just never nurtured emotionally. So I was always, you know, taking care of myself and looking after myself and
learning to be lonely in a world.
Yeah. So like, you know, there was a lot of like emotional shit that I wasn't comprehending, and when I needed exactly. You know,
there's no way for you to know you're a child. Nothing is developed properly. You're still developing, not developed properly, but you're still growing. You're still maturing, and we don't really mature until 25. And men, it's a little bit older too. So their cognitive abilities. So you know, if you're starting your life with distant mom, dad is struggling with all those kind of things. All you understand is loneliness. Despair. No wonder you had anxiety.
Yeah. And that's why my great grandmother had such a huge impact, because she was always there.
Yeah.
You know, whether I was being a little asshole or just being good, you know, she was always there. She was always there to teach me. She was always there to hold me and look after me and just care for me. And so, you know, when she passed, it was like, fuck you, you know, like the angry inner child came out, and I was just pissed, you know.
Yeah. And it's like, now what? How am I gonna do life and stuff? So at around that time, so that was what, 2002. So that was a year before. It was 2011, like you know, 9/11. So, and then as you're journeying your whole life, so obviously now you're dealing with loneliness, you're dealing with anger and intensified. You're now getting kicked out of Flat Earth was probably later.
Flat Earth, it was about the same time. It was about the same time.
Are you serious? Yeah. Wow. So you knew about that way back when. Wow.
Yeah.
That was nothing like a while.
I was questioning it then, like, you know, like it was like I said, it was like a whole like spiritual crash out. I was questioning Flat Earth, and you know, I had the stuff with my church, and then like my grandmother passing, so it was all like boom, 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 like a sequence. And
so you had your spiritual shakeup then.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
when you really had it.
Yeah.
And so how did you manage that? I know you were angry, but like, so great grandma's gone, you're finding out about these things. How do you do life?
Drugs, lots and lots of drugs. I got really bad into Oxycontin, heroin. You know, I became a heroin addict for a number of years, a better portion of a decade. And then I started realizing, you know, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix this. I'm in a fucked up place. I'm not doing good. And so I slowly started coming away from the opiates. And one of the really big shakeups was in 2008. I got shot in the chest, close range, and died. I died on the operating room table. Like after I came to, and the surgeon was like, "Yeah, your heart stopped for several minutes, and blah blah blah, and we brought you back." And I kind of remember it though. It was peaceful. It was super peaceful. But that was one of the big ones. Like the getting shot. I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, okay. I'm certainly here for a reason, and now I have to find out what that reason is. What is the purpose of me being alive, as opposed to a little child who has cancer and dies? So I struggle with that too. They're like, kind of survivor's remorse, because there's so many people that are more deserving of it than I am. Because why me? Why was I chosen to survive this ordeal? And a little kid, gets sick with lymphoma and dies at 5 years old. He had no life, like why me? Why did so I struggled with that for a while, and I started to really find purpose in why I was chosen, why I was here.
Yeah, asking those hard questions really doesn't bring us like answers, right? Why?
No.
Never really an answer to that.
No.
So, but good on you for being shot. Right. Yeah. But it woke you up. Like
it did.
Like big time. And that was a big wake up call. And a lot of us, like, I didn't have to get shot to wake up, but I also didn't struggle in the same manner that you did, right? So we all have different ways of coping with waking up, with dealing with grief, with dealing with sorrow, with dealing with deception, with dealing with anger, resentment, bitterness, and all that kind of stuff. And numbing is a big thing for a lot of us. I remember when I started journeying this whole thing, like about in 2018, and I started understanding that the world in which we live in, like, it wasn't a spherical globe like NASA tells us about and stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, and then I found out about flat Earth, and I don't mean to say that I still subscribe to that ideology, to that to that truth, because I feel that because that's right left paradigm again.
Right. That's clearly manipulated as well.
That's right. But that was the truth at the time that made me realize I'm being lied to here. And that was the catalyst for me. And that started the journey in the rabbit hole, as many of us talk about the rabbit hole journeys, right? And I quickly recognized that a lot of people who didn't care and didn't give a shit about learning about the fact that we were deceived and lied to.
Yeah, they don't care at all.
What the hell? I don't get that. I don't understand. Well, what does that change in my life? Whether the earth is flat or if it's round, I still walk on it.
Right. Yeah. All they care about is their ball game or dinner on the table, and
just. But it's like, well, I've understood that those people do not have the capability to see a larger picture. There are people that are laser focused and that they can't see larger, and then some of us larger can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hold that against them, because I kind of understood that that's how some people perceive life. But for us that started putting pieces together, like even before the flat earth thing for me, I worked at a bank and I was like, why is everything based out of that? Why is it always about debt? And like, why is it so hard for people to save money? And why this and why that? And I just couldn't put my finger on it. And I was still happy, clappy Christian, praise the Lord, praise the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And, believing that I was doing stuff for Jesus and
right. Yeah.
all that. Right. Oh yeah. I was the best Christian girl you could have ever possibly have met. But and when that flat earth stuff came about, that's when it started going downhill. Well, downhill. It started opening doors of understanding that I didn't know I had an option to believe something else. Isn't that amazing? I didn't realize I had another way of looking at the world in which I lived in, because I was only offered one way to look at it.
Right. Yeah.
People are only offered one way to go to school. They're only offered one way to go to work. They're only offered one way to, do you know what I mean? But it's still in a dualistic society, right? And then like in 2019 is when, like the first week of 2019, I started finding a lot of videos online, right? Thank God for YouTube, and thank God for other researchers that come into, that share what they've understood. Right. For us to kind of know. And I started watching this lady. Her channel was called Extreme Reality Check. And she had a 3-hour video called The Age of Deception.
Okay.
Blew my mind. It blew my mind. And she was starting to talk about inverts and about how men and women are inverted. Okay. Like the whole Hollywood and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's a great topic for people that are blind to understand. So that was, and then I found out about politics. I think it was in the span of 3 days. I had understood that politics were a lie, and I understood why, because who created it, why it was created, religion, how it was created, why it was created, and then this inverts. And I went into a tailspin. Like I
bet.
ever-loving mind. And I didn't like you said earlier, when your whole world is wrapped around a single, like a way of living, you had your great grandma and you had your way of living and you had perception and things are going well. And then something happens tragically. And whether it's loss, for me, it was loss of truth, lies I believe to be true.
Yeah. It's really,
that was my identity. That's you are losing yourself.
Yes.
How do I believe now?
Yeah. It's very difficult to wrap your head around. That's for sure. Your whole identity is just wiped clean. You're like, okay, what the hell? Yeah.
What the hell? But I'm grateful that I went through that journey, because as I kept learning and I kept understanding, I started understanding signs and symbology, how the Freemasons work, what's Hegelian dialectic, what are the right and left paradigm. When I started understanding pattern recognition, then the emotion comes out. A lot of people today, especially, on Facebook, and any social media actually, they are still within the 2-tier party line. They're still like left, right, conservative. They're still like, Boston Bruins against Montreal Canadiens, stuff like that, right? And they don't understand that they're being psychologically manipulated, right? And they're staying in that level of consciousness. And when people like us start to post things that are just a surface lower, they start to manifest. Like as an example, okay?
Yeah.
I posted that shit and saying, hey guys, this is a sign. You should have seen the comment section in my thing going, are you stupid? That means I love you in American Sign Language. And I'm thinking, Do you know who created American Sign Language?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know who? Yeah, yeah.
You know who? Do you know what they believed? Do you know the religion they believed? And do you know why they did what they did? So before you come at me thinking that I'm fucking retarded, dumbass.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, don't apologize to me. I get fucking pissed too. Yeah.
Literally, it's like, if somebody is showing you that there's a different layer of understanding, don't come at them and say that they're stupid. Why don't you go, why in the world is she saying that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't people come to that realization of going, hey, I'm being triggered right now. Why don't I ask them, what do you understand that maybe I don't? And I've come to humble myself very much in respects to that, because for many years, Christianity taught me that I had the way, the truth, and the life.
Yep.
That's it. Yep. I had it all made. I knew how things started. I know what happened, and I know the end.
Yep.
And then when I had somebody push against that, my walls would go up and whatever, because I was programmed and I was indoctrinated to have an automatic response.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like it's like the agent in the Matrix popping up to defend the Matrix.
The Agent Smith.
Yep.
The Agent Smith. So, and that's where, and I know that that's probably something that you went through in your journey too, that you realize, hold on a second here. Like, and I went through the whole political thing, and I even ran for provincial office, which would be the equivalent. So I was all in, hook, line, and sinker, baby. Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I was part of the 7 Mountain Mandate with the New Apostolic Reformation. I was part of the Lance Wallnau stuff. I was.
Oh, you were all in.
I was a good Christian born again girl.
Yeah.
So for people to kind of say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, whatever. I don't need your accolades. I don't need your validation. I no longer need to go outside of myself for approval.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
The kingdom of heaven is within.
You're dangerous when you reach that state. You're a very dangerous person when you reach that state.
Right.
They don't like that.
No, and they don't. And it's that knowing who you are. And I am always open to see. That's why I say oftentimes, and I would like, just in brief conversation with you, I shared, this is what I currently understand to be true.
Right.
Because I'm always seeking for additional information,
of course,
or things that may bring insight that I currently don't have. So, and that's why before I was all into the flat earth stuff, okay? Right. And trying to teach people about it, because to me, at that moment in time, it was truth. And it helped me understand the 2-party system and that. And now I go, okay, hold on a second. I now understand how the pattern recognition works in this world. They want to keep me within the flat earth regarding like globe earth or whatever. Okay. When you just see those 2 things at play and things becoming extremely, extremely popular, you kind of go, oh, Tom Ting Wong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And it's and you keep leveling up. You keep leveling up, you know. Yes. And if you stay stagnant in one indoctrination or another, you're stagnant. You're not learning anymore. You know, this is that, and this is how I am, and blah blah blah. And it just there's no growth. There's no development, and it's complacent and boring.
That's right. But it's part of their system. It's part of the way that people are going to keep going with the flow, like the Agent Smiths all over the place, right?
Yeah. So,
so as you're moving forward, what are you learning as you're transitioning? You know, like it's great grandma's like passed. It's 2002. 10 years go by. You get shot. Like, what happens then? We're what, in 2022?
Yeah. Say that again.
So what year are we at when this starts happening?
Oh, like the whole like transition of like.
Yeah, you go from being an addict to smartening up to like going into.
It's like I went from being an addict to smartening up, and you know, I kind of got back into the church because like it was, you know, it's like That's
from one ditch to the other.
Yeah, they hooked me again, and you know, brought me back in, and like, oh, you know, instead of like doing the inner work and going inward and discovering that, you know, I have the power to change all of this. And it was like 2022, 2023, somewhere around there. Yeah. Like that's when yeah.
So this is recent. This is actually very recent.
It's been a process. Like I'll take like a couple steps forward where I'm like, okay, I think I'm done with all the programming, and then I'm like, okay, I'm still programmed here, you know, and then like it's just and you keep leveling up, and there's always like trauma associated with like the leveling up process. It's like, you know, something traumatic happens in your life, and then you're like, oh shit, okay, and then you have like a, you know, you have an experience of self-reflection, and you're like, okay, you keep learning. Like the more shit you take, the more shit you learn, you know.
That's right. And the more you shed, the more things you shed.
Yeah, and exactly.
It's I think I don't know, I became addicted to learning. Oh, I don't know if you're still there. Well, while Ryan is figuring out his tech, I recognize that as I kept growing and as I kept learning, I kept being addicted to learning, because and that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because there's always something for you to learn on the outside of yourself. There's another psyop, there's another ditch to fall into, there's another level of deception that's waiting for you. And once you kind of let's see if Ryan's going to come back. Once you start to keep going outside of yourself, you're trained to do that first and foremost, right? And what I had to come to understand is that I had to start going inside that whole thing that Jesus said, you know, and I don't subscribe perhaps to the fact that Jesus may have lived, not the one that people believe in today, the one that's from Rome, but I do think that there is some truth to who this character was. But anyways, he had said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And everything in this world is set up for you to always go on the outside of yourself, right? So from the beginning of the video, when Ryan and I were talking, we were mentioning how we were taught from a very young age that, you know, as soon as you're born, your parents actually sell you off to the government with the birth certificate. You have to register the child. So now you don't even belong to your parents on paper. Legally, you belong to the government. That's another story. And then when you go to school, and then when you go to school, you're sitting in a row, like, right? Like, I remember sitting in rows of classrooms and stuff, and there's one person at the front of the class that teaches you how to be. And everybody has the same books, everybody has the same lessons, and all of us are trained to conform to that specific thought. And I remember in school, they used, and us as kids, we'd say, like, why are we learning this stuff? Like, what good is this? And does anybody else remember that? And we remembered how okay, so Ryan's phone died. Okay. Why are we learning this? And they would say, well, that's because you'll know how to have conversations with other people in the future. Like, how much of a dumb answer is that? So anyhow, so for 12 years of your life, as you are growing and as you're developing, you're learning what? You're learning, sit down, shut up, and do as you're told. Not audibly, but by action. And that school setup is based out of the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers that wanted to raise a society of workers, not thinkers, workers. So, and I felt I was in it, and my mom and dad didn't know any better. My grandparents didn't know any better. And so we go through the school system and you're told that this is the best way to go through life. So you study, you show yourself approved, you are you're told what to think, how to think, and then you're told that you're a good girl or a good boy based on what you can regurgitate back. That's why testing is there. So you learn to be in an institution as opposed to working with your intuition. And some people, like Ryan from the beginning of the video, when he was mentioning that he had that he always knew from a child that he had a difficult time kind of fitting in, and he's like, something's wrong here. And not everybody has that. I don't know if those people that are watching now have that, but I remember I didn't think anything was wrong. I was a good little girl. I went to school and I did well. And it was pretty much, I think, when I was an older individual, when I was working in the banking world, and I started seeing, like, why is this all set up this way? Because of my biblical background, which says that we should not be in debt, that we should be the head and not the tail. We should be above and not beneath. And why am I in debt? Why do I have to work all the time? Why is stuff not free? Why do I have to pay for the fruits on the trees? Why do I have to pay for this? Why do I have to pay for that? And then I had just come to put that aside, going, oh, well, it's because I live in the demonic world, and I live in a demonic world, and this is just how it is, and I can't really change anything. And I believed that lie. So when the wake up started happening in 2018, it was really hard for me, because I'm an authentic individual. What you see is what you get. I believe that, well, I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign too. So, and I know not everybody's the same, right? And we all have our qualities, and we all have our struggles. And, but it was really, really hard for me to see that I was deceived to that level, and it nearly drove me insane. So Ryan's back. All right, there he is.
There we go.
There you go. So I was just sharing with everybody that's behind, like, how when we grew up, we were indoctrinated to go to school, and we were told for 12 straight years, sit down, shut up, and do as you're told. And when you come to an awakening process, like I was sharing with them, I nearly went crazy, because my whole world, my whole entire world, my foundation was rocked. Mm-hmm. Where I thought I lived was a lie. The God I thought I knew was a lie. Like, oh
yeah.
It's traumatic. And I had started,
to say the least. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Who am I? Why am I here?
Yeah.
Right. And when I had when I started studying more and more, and I was sharing before you got cut off, mm-hmm. is that the trap also is that there's always something for you to learn, outside of yourself. Okay, what are they doing? What's their next plan? Checkerboard floors, old sign and symbols, and
right.
Look at the chemtrails, and the DARPA and the NASA, and
yeah, for sure,
and psyops and shills and all that. And I had to. I think it took me about 5 years to really go, okay, why am I always looking at what these morons are doing? Mm-hmm. Because now I'm giving them power. I'm giving them the authority over me by focusing on them.
Yeah. Well, it's like what we were talking about the other day, mocking them and laughing at them. Yeah. So it doesn't have power. It doesn't, right. They don't have any power anymore. You take that away, it loses its value.
Exactly. And and I think that that's actually a good way to go about doing it, because we're like, man, we see you.
Exactly.
We see you. Even though some other people on our Facebook that look at us like we're fucking idiots, we're like,
well, we are shit posters, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're not the idiots. We're trying to wake you up, and just like an Agent Smith, you get pissed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you get pissed because you don't want to understand, or you don't want to see, or maybe it's not your time. And I've come to conclude that some people never are going to wake up.
Right. Yeah. and you know, and people wonder why I say such thought-provoking shit. It's like, I want you to think, bro. Like, honestly, I want you to think. I don't want you to listen. I don't want you to listen to what I say. I want you to think. So
yeah. Well, that's why I started doing the complete opposite. When people say don't comply, I'm like, yeah, comply. Just comply.
Yeah,
just
that's a funny tactic too. I like that.
Yeah, just comply. Just do as you're told. Because most of you will anyways.
Right.
But some of you might go,
why the hell is she telling me this? Why is she telling me to comply? I thought she was against it. Oh no.
Yeah,
She's changing her stance. Yeah,
exactly. But and I and maybe like yourself, you know, you're a provocateur, you want to get people to think, you know, we have a fire within our heart and within our entire being that goes, fucking wake up.
Yeah. I'm constantly screaming internally, like all day, every day. And like, you know, I'll post like, hey, screaming session at 9 p.m. You know, like I may be fucking around, but like inside I'm screaming, you know, like I am screaming at the top of my lungs. So
yeah. And have you found like have you found that there's been much sorrow in this journey, you know?
A little bit. Well, I can't say a little bit. That's a fucking lie. A lot. There's a lot. Especially with, you know, like people that you care about. Like I lost my grandmother, like my mother's mother, not my great grandmother, but my grandmother to the sticky pokey.
Of course.
And I warned her, and she told me I was batshit crazy, and I said,
of course,
at least I tried, you know. And I try to tell myself, like, at the end of the day, the decision is on them, you know, whether to walk through the door or not. And it's a difficult task, you know, carrying that weight of like, you know, maybe if I did more, you know, there's that regret of, you know, maybe if I tried harder, or, you know, maybe if I had like more in-person meetings with her and plead my case, you know, I could have saved her life, you know, I could have helped her. And I try not to beat myself up about it, you know. And
you did what I've come to understand in this whole journey too, with the truther stuff, especially during the pandemic, is that there was always somebody, a wacko, somebody like us, screaming at the top of their lungs in respects to people to wake up, to see what other people weren't seeing. There was always somebody within the circle. There was always a crazy aunt, cousin, niece, nephew, person, whatever. So you did your part. And could we have done more? Absolutely. But could they have listened more?
Ooh, well said. Yeah.
Right? The onus, and you're right, is on them. And I think that part of the truther movement is to leave people where they're at. Like, I'm not here. Like, and my pinned post says, my voice is not for you. I tell you, it's not for you. It's for those who hear me. So if you don't like what I have to say, fuck off. Sorry, just fuck off. I'm not for you.
I
don't vibe. You don't vibe with me. You're not on the same frequency that I am. And that's okay. But don't come attacking me though.
That's always been a weird phenomenon to me. Like, you have the option to scroll, yet you choose to get offended by something that I'm saying. Like, that's like choosing to step in dog shit and then getting pissed that you stepped in dog shit when you had the option to avoid it.
And this is where I'm going to show some of my true colors. I'm like, I triggered you. Thank you for giving me your power.
I always have fun. I have fun triggering people. I do. It's kind of sadistic, and I get it. You know, but I have so much fun pissing people off. I get such a dopamine hit from it. I'm like, that is fucking awesome. Like, you know, especially when there's so many death threats in Messenger. I'm like, yes. It's like I wake up every day and I'm like, not dead yet. Okay, the shit show continues. Let's go.
I'm the guy who got shot. a closed gunpoint, what do you have to lose? What the hell do you have to lose? You've met death. You've kissed death.
And that's not the first time. That's not the first time. Going back to what we were saying about 2022, I attempted to take my own life 3 times. 3 fucking times.
Wow.
Yeah. So the first time, I can laugh about it now because it's quite comical. But so I'm in Burlington, Vermont. I was having a real shit time. Like I was seeing this girl, and she wasn't fully committing. I bought a ring and everything. Like I was fucking all in. And she was just farting around. So I was like, I'm fucking done. Like I'm done. So I eat like 4 edibles, and then at this time I was drinking, so I drank like 4 or 5 tall boys, and I drove down to this like kind of secluded dog park, and I did the whole thing. I put the garden hose inside the tailpipe of the car, stuffed a bandana in there to wedge it in so it won't come out, stuck the tube into the window, and I was just about asleep. And there's a knock on my window, and it's a cop.
Oh,
and he's like, can you step out of the car, please? I'm like, fuck. And I step out of the car, and there's like 6 or 7 cops. There's a fire truck. There's a ambulance, and and I was like, yeah. What do you want? Like, what the fuck do you want?
The problem.
Yeah, what seems to be the problem, officer? Like this is just this crazy dude, just like ready to just fucking end it all in a dog park. And he's like, yeah, well, we got a report. Somebody drove by and saw that your car was running in the garden hose and blah blah blah. And then I don't know. I went off on this like 10, maybe 15-minute tangent about them all being Freemasons and complicit in the New World Order agenda, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And like I was fucking going off. Like I was so pissed. I was like,
nothing to lose now.
I was like, you fucking interrupted me, And he's like, oh, do you have any? He's like, do you have any regrets about your actions tonight? I was like, yeah, I regret not finding a more secluded fucking place. And so I'm just going off on this tangent, and like they're like holding their heads in shame. Like you can see the looks on their faces. Like I'm hitting it right on the nose. And they were, needless to say, they were pretty nice to me. They're like, okay, well, you're gonna have to go to the emergency room and get checked out, and you're probably gonna be on a psych hold, and et cetera, et cetera. So eventually I was like, yeah, fuck it, fine, let's go. So so I went there, and they're like trying to put oxygen on me. I'm like, fuck this oxygen. They're like, well, have you been vaccinated? I was like, fuck your vaccine. And I was just I don't care. Like there's no fucks given anymore, like at all. I was about to take my own life. Do you think I give a fuck about your oxygen or your vaccine? Like,
no.
So they put me on a 72-hour psych hold. I was like, all right, cool. I said what I needed to say to get out. That night, I got out like mid-afternoon that day. That night, I went back and tried to do it again. And I went to a much more secluded spot this time, learning from my mistakes. And the car shut off. I was like, this is fucking gay. I'm done. Like, I'm going home. I'm going to go see my dog. We'll try this again another day. So the following day, and I was drinking too. Like I drank a 5th of gin, had some edibles, and I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to go home and sleep. So I went home, I slept, and then I woke up, went to work the next day. And then after work, I was like, okay, so we're doing it again. so it was like 3 days in a row, like, well, 72 hours. After the 72 hours, like another 2 times, you know. So that third time, car overheated out of nowhere. Car overheat, shuts off. And I was like, okay, I hear you loud and clear. I guess I am supposed to be here. So that was like another pivotal moment in my life where I was like, I am here for a reason. I have to.
We're not gonna let you go before you get what you
Yeah.
need to get done.
You gotta
Seriously.
fucking suffer. Yeah, you gotta fucking suffer like everybody else. We're not letting you out here. You know? So
yeah, damn it. I need a shit poster like me. Thank you.
Right? I was like, okay. So then at that point in time, I was like, all right, so I gotta figure something out. Like, my mental health is fucked.
Because it does fuck you up.
It does. I'm not doing so good. So I called up a buddy of mine in Tennessee, and I was like, look, here's what happened. He's like, oh, I was wondering where you've been. Yeah. I was in a 72-hour cycle, and then tried to kill myself 2 more times after that. And he's like, well, come on down. So I went down to Tennessee and kind of just got everything straightened out. And then when I came back up from Tennessee the first time, that's when I dosed with the mushrooms. Like, I was dosing with mushrooms since like 2019, something like that. Like I was talking about the microdosing and stuff like that. Yeah. But the big heroic dose, that was the that was the one. Yeah. So
turns everything around.
Yeah. Oh, completely changed my whole perspective. And after that, I started the whole fake and gay movement, and like, and I was just having fun, just shit posting, just saying whatever's on my mind. You know, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, just go. Just
come at me, bro. Come at me, bro.
Like,
what the hell?
Like the more pissed off you get, the more fun I'm having. Like, and I know it's sadistic and kind of twisted, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm having a ball over here. So,
well, it's because when you go through these awakening processes, when you start to wake up to what is really going on, there is a long time of sorrow. With much wisdom comes much sorrow.
Yeah.
It's just how that works.
Yeah.
And our minds are set up to find solutions. How am I going to get out of this? Like, this is wrong. Like, this is not how we're supposed to be. This is not how we're supposed to live. Right. And then we're on this constant cycle of seeing what's wrong. And we feel like we're in the movie though too, right?
Yes.
Because you see it, but everybody around you is oblivious.
It's one of the craziest things. Like, how do you not see it? And like, I always reference They Live. You know, we have the glasses on, and nobody else does.
There was a time where I was unable to see. I was, you know, like before you got cut off with your phone, like from when you were a child, you kind of figured out something was wrong.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Oh,
I was perfectly cool.
Oh, like, wow. Okay.
Like I was fine. I went to school. I was having fun. And, you know, like there was probably like, why the hell are we learning this in school kind of thing, right? But it wasn't until later on in life, in my late 20s, early 30s, maybe even perhaps, where I'm like, you know, like I was a slow horse out of the gate.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So you were enamored by the whole Matrix for a long time in your life. Okay.
Hook, line, and sinker. I was all in. So I can understand how some people are completely oblivious to it. And it's not that there's not seeds planted, because I believe that there were little I remember, how crazy is this? I remember when I was like maybe 8 years old watching TV, like in the 80s. And I remember like somebody on TV saying how 3 companies own like a gazillion businesses or whatever. Right. And that always struck me, even at like 8 years old. And that now looking back, I'm like, that was a seed planted.
Yes. Like, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, and I really do believe that you and and other people too that are awakened to some level, I feel that we have a duty to share.
Yeah.
We have the duty to tell people what we know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because like I know that somebody out there, and I do a lot of counseling too. Okay. Like that's part of my gifting. When people come into my life, I help them. And I reference that a lot to say to them, become the best version of yourself, because somebody out there is waiting for you, because they're waiting to hear your voice and your frequency.
Damn, that's good. That's real good. That's real good. Yeah.
It's the truth. And
Yeah.
see, everything that you've been through in your life, you tried to end it. First, somebody tried to end it for you, and you 3 times tried to end it, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And now,
Right?
see,
Yeah.
and see, like when I heard your frequency,
Yeah.
you were becoming a better version of yourself. And I'm like, oh, I got to talk to that guy.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now you have a frequency and you have a story that I feel resonates not only with me, but with other people that are similar to us and may need encouragement. Maybe they're in the dark night of the soul.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they're going through their I got shot moment. They're going through my whole life is collapsing in front of me and I don't know where to turn to.
Right.
And how do I overcome this? Because back then, especially like in the early 2000s, there wasn't a lot of stuff on the internet. So you were literally going through this by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and in your struggle, and I can understand the numbing. Like when I started waking up and all that kind of stuff, 2019 happened. And I woke up one day, Ryan, and I started learning about gematria. I started learning about the signs and symbols. I started learning about the colors and how they use their colors and how they, blah, 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 how they plant things and what.
Right.
And one morning I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, one day we're going to wake up and our lives are never going to be the same. And I can't tell you why I thought that, why I believe that. And then when this whole this whole virus, and I saw the signs and I saw the symbols and I saw them and I'm like, here we go.
Yep.
Here we fucking go.
I was mocking the shit out of that too.
Oh man. And and then here I was, guys, and that's when I started losing my faith. I started losing my God. I started losing my whole entire life, my whole identity. And then I'm starting to see that this world is run. I knew that the devil was the prince of the power of the airs and he was the prince of the world.
Right. Yeah.
Not like this though. Not like this. And when I saw that, I had a mental breakdown. Mental.
Oh, you did?
Dude.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, and as soon as the pandemic hit and I started seeing that there's a whole 2020 was there was other things that had happened. And I was like, how in the hell am I going to overcome this? Because I lost my God. If you don't have God, what do you have left? What do you have left to try to find?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing. Sure. So most people go through heartache and they go the drugs and the alcohol and the promiscuity and all that kind of stuff and the gangs and whatever. And then they find Jesus. I didn't do any of that. I found the Jesus and then I left and I went on the other side. And
the false light. Jesus, the false light.
Well, and then recognizing that my whole entire faith, my whole entire walk, every decision that I had ever fucking made was based out of this faith that was orchestrated by these people.
Yeah, right.
Right?
The realization is unreal. It really is.
Yeah. And then, I went through the whole leaving the church thing and I did the Torah thing and I did the sacred name thing. And I was progression, right? Like you said earlier, it's all about levels. And I did the progression. And I always wanted to go back to how I felt when I was a Christian. I felt safe. I felt like I understood everything. And I felt that I know what the hell was going to happen next. Right? I needed a sturdy safety, right? So men and women kind of look for safety in different methods and whatever, but that was mine. And yeah, so when this whole, I had moved back home and started realizing that nobody saw what I saw, especially with this whole sticking shit up your nose and, you know, twisting it. And I started understanding about nanotech and,
yeah.
So
nanotech and lucifreeze and all this other shit. Yeah.
And you both started doing the glug, glug, glug.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it because I didn't have a God anymore. I didn't have anything outside of myself anymore. I started seeing everything. Mm-hmm. Granted, there was always things to see. I didn't see everything. You know what I mean? That's just an expression. Right. But when your foundation shakes, everything goes away. And you're like, I don't know what to do. Just like you went into heroin, you went into drug addiction, mm-hmm. you lost everything. And I think that for a lot of us, there was a period of numbing because you can't compute. You can't, how am I going to do this? How am I not going to, like, you know, you still go to work and you still do your thing and you're like, but what the hell is this all for?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What is the purpose of going to work every day if it's just, if there's no meaning behind it, you know, like, yeah.
There's no meaning, and then you find out why work was created, the 40-hour week, who created that, and then
the currency on top of it, and you're like, these fuckers.
Yeah, and then the birth certificate bullshit, and you know, and then you're like, I'm just gonna lay down on the floor, maybe throw me a couple peanuts from time to time, and just let me be there, you know. Yeah. But then I remember we need to go through those moments, though. We need to go through those moments of sorrow to then get ourselves back up and to keep moving forward. Because other people are going through this. Other people need to hear us. And that we don't claim that we know the answers to everything. We don't claim that we know what this is necessarily all for. Mm-hmm. And only you will know why. Only Ryan, once you start, as you continue your journey of leveling up, you will start to understand more within you who you are, why you are here, and what the purpose is for you. Because what your purpose is maybe a little bit different than mine.
Right.
And so on. We all have different reasons why we're here. Some people believe that we're starseeds. Some people believe that we willingly came here. Some people there's all sorts of beliefs. Some people believe we live in a prison planet. Some people I'd like to think that I wasn't so dumb to come back here if I was, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Same.
I'd be like, right. But I haven't figured that out yet. And but we're all on a journey, and we wanted to have this conversation today for other people to kind of hear us out and hear what Ryan's been through and hear what I've been through a little bit, and to say, you know what, it's okay that if you're going through the dark night of the soul, if you're going through numbing, if you're going through pain and agony because you don't know what the hell you're doing here, it's part of the journey. Yeah.
And you know, I hope that my voice can help somebody. You know, it's not easy. It's not, you know, try to take my life 3 times because it's not easy, you know. And I want people to know that it doesn't get better. You just find new ways of dealing with it that are more positive.
Yeah. And it has to do, like, regardless of what happens on the outside of us, right? Because we were trained, always look on the outside, always look for validation, for meaning, for value, for work, for whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's to now go, okay, so now we have to shift, because like you said, things are going to get worse out here.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
But before we go, I do want to maybe share what my thoughts are on this. Okay. I feel, and I can't explain why, I feel that the reason why the big brother hand is becoming more pressurized, okay, is because these people have access to information that we don't.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they know how to study the stars better, the constellations. They know about ages. They know about things that us as peasants
Right.
We've been just sold a lie. And I feel that the more pressure that there is because there's something going on in this realm that is an awakening process, that it's because it has to be the opposite, right? So let me say it this way. I always wondered why, if we must be something really special as human beings, stars, whatever you want to say that you are, for them to lie to us so much to that fucking degree of deception.
Yeah.
You have to be something really special.
Yeah.
And if we weren't, they wouldn't go through all this fucking bullshit to lie to us, to deceive us, to put us in, and to calcify our pineal gland, to make sure that we don't understand who we are, to this, to that, to all that stuff. So the more pressure they put in this realm to digitize, to push us into 15-minute stages or whatever you want to call it, is because there has to be something that they know that you and I, and all of us that are seeking out truth, that have yet to comprehend. What do you think?
I think you're right on the money with the the calcifying of the pineal gland and the deception and the lies, and lead us away from our divine selves. And they definitely know something that we don't. They always know something that we don't.
Yep.
I think it's our duty to figure out what it is that they know that we don't know. And I think that would be our greatest weapon, is to know exactly.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
And Ryan, when you went through your whole experience, and I want to share this, and then we probably should close up our chat time together. When I figured out that the kingdom of heaven is within, I knew it's like we carry water. You know how water carries memory. Right? Yeah. So I feel that within our very temple, our very bodies, that our answers are lying within. Right?
Yeah.
And as I shared with you about the golden elixir stuff, and we could talk about that in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Talk about how I believe that if through either meditational practices, through the mushroom, through also understanding the living waters of life that come out of your body, through things like that, when you start to understand that you can actually find the answers within. And this, I believe that this is both of our journey, both yours and mine, where you know that the answers are within.
Yeah.
And maybe we could talk about more of the journey about the mushrooms, and talk about how what benefit would be to people, because especially since you've been through that experience, and talk a little bit more about that, and maybe talk about the waters of life, and talk about how that can also bring about an awakening process to decalcify the pineal gland, to help us in our spiritual walk, because they sold us a lie.
They sold us a bunch of lies. Yeah,
for sure. That everything's on the outside of us, and everything is within.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and these 5G towers, not only is it a weapon to be used to deceive us, but it's also a weapon that affects our living water in our bodies. And I can't remember the Japanese scientist.
Yakamoto.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. He did the study with water, and what frequencies you put into it, or what you say to it, has an effect on it. So if they are affecting us with the 5G towers, and all of the EMF, and disrupting that living water within us, it's another means of control and hurting us. And with mushrooms, it's like with mushrooms, it's like both sides of your brain are working simultaneously, and all of your neural pathways are connected, and it's firing at a rapid rate. And it thins the veil even more. Like us truthers can, we know that the veil is thinning, but with mushrooms, it's like almost transparent, and you just get a real peek behind the curtain. and it's so powerful. And it's not something that it's like a party drug, like ecstasy or whatever, what have you. It's not a recreational drug like heroin or cocaine like that. It is a tool to help you unlock your mind. It is a very valuable tool that we all need to embrace. Right. And it's just it's hard to put into words because of how amazing it is, and how it's just like every ounce of like misery is just gone. Like when I'm on mushrooms, I feel nothing but joy, like smiling the entire time.
Nice.
Colors are brighter. Yeah. Conversations that you would normally be like, oh, just kill me, get me out of here, like are incredibly just amazing. There's just it heightens everything, and it makes everything bleak beautiful.
Nice. Well, Ryan, I want to thank you for taking the time today to come and have a conversation with me and to share your story. And you have a very powerful story of like
crazy, yeah. Same thing.
Oh man, no, I would never have thought that. So for anyone who is struggling in life and is thinking to end it or to what the hell's the point? I'm sure that if you want to reach out to Ryan,
absolutely, yeah, please do. Yeah,
Ryan is there to kind of help, to maybe guide you and to help you in your process. And to anyone who struggles with numbing or to struggles with wanting to have a conversation on what the hell am I supposed to do? Reach out to us. Yeah, you're not alone. We've been there alone, and we know that it's shitty. We know what it's like, and we've hit rock bottom, him in his way, me and mine. And we know that everybody that may be listening to us, that our voice is not for everybody, and that's okay. Yep. And but we are always doing it maybe just for the one. So if you're that one, make sure that you reach out to us. And thanks for the conversation, Ryan. I look forward to maybe doing this in the future. Absolutely. For us to talk about more on how to change our perspective in our lives through the nature's use of mushrooms. Yes, so that absolutely. We can all shift our thinking and live our best ways in this matrix while we're still here.
Appreciate it, Joanne. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, great. So we'll say goodbye for now, and we'll connect at another time.
All right.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.